President and members, I rise asking for your support for Senate Bill 436. And I know there's been a lot of discussion about things that have happened in our country relative to bathrooms, relative to issues of who can go in the bathroom, who can't go in the bathroom, can a man go in a woman's bathroom, this, that, and the other. Let me be clear. Senate Bill 436 has absolutely nothing to do with who goes into what bathroom. Senate Bill 436, in its very core, provides for people who happen to be gay, lesbian, or transgendered to be given the proper protection under the law. It places them in a protected class where race, religion, and creed lives, where a person that happens to be gay, lesbian, or transgendered should not be discriminated against based on their sexual preference. That means when we send our young men and women away to train, to go to school, to become the best prepared for the workplace, that they're judged on the quality of their work and their ability to perform the task, and not based on who they love. This is a fairness bill. This is a bill about giving people the opportunity to live their lives and to enjoy their craft, whatever it may be. So when they go into the marketplace and they apply for a job, that some employer would not summarily look at them and make a judgment call based on what they think they may be, and deny them a job or discriminate against them in the workplace. Ladies and gentlemen, this is about fairness. You know, we come into this chamber every day, and I admire you all. We come into this chamber every day and we pray. And I believe us all to be sincere in our prayer when we say pray for each other, bless each other, protect each other. And I believe us to be sincere when we stand in front of the flag and we put our hands over our hearts and we make a pledge and we say justice for all. I've never heard any of us say justice for some. I've never heard any of us say justice for this one but not for that one. We all, day in, day out, every single day, we say justice for all. Senate Bill 436 asks you to give justice for all. Now, I've heard many say, if the bill passes, it's going to be another cause of action. My colleagues, every single piece of legislation that we pass in this body, every single one that we debate is subject to a cause of action if someone doesn't like it or disagrees with it. You know, it was almost 24 years ago to the day, almost 24 years ago to the day, that I, as a young member of the House of Representatives, argued this exact same bill. Got it out of labor successfully by narrow margin, much like we successfully by narrow margin got it out of Senate labor this time. It failed on the House floor. I'm hoping that today, 24 years later, we're all a little wiser, a little more tolerant, a little more understanding, and recognizing that God never got around to making us one any better than the other. Surely he made us different, but he never made any of us any better than the other. I've got two sons. I love them both. At some point, they're going to make me a grandfather. I don't know what the good Lord will bless me with, but I do know that it'll be my grandchildren. And if they happen to be gay, lesbian, or transgender, I'd want them to be able to go into the workplace and apply for a job and be judged purely on their capabilities, purely on the training and the education that they've obtained to do the job, and not based on one's perception of their sexuality. That's not the body and the world we live in. This is not the body we serve. This body is a fair body. We pray every day. we pledge allegiance and say justice for all. Today I'm asking you to stand up for those people who have historically been disenfranchised, people that have been ostracized. Again, not talking about bathrooms. Has nothing to do with bathrooms. Zero. Has everything to do with fairness. Everything to do with giving people the opportunity to be gainfully employed. In an economy where we encourage our people to go out and be the best that they can be. If you're a widget maker, doesn't matter if you're black or white, green or blue, what religion, those are protected. There's a protected class that says that a person that shall not be discriminated against because of their race, because of their religion, because of their creed. In this section of the law, we simply drop in gay, lesbian, or transgender. There's no hitting meeting. There's no other agenda. There's no other next step. There's nothing else that this gateways to other than pure fairness. I would ask that you join me in sending the message to the rest of the country that my unborn grandchildren, your unborn children, your unborn grandchildren, your neighbor, your friend, your relative, who may not be comfortable exposing their preferences because of the unfair nature that they're treated, that we send a message to the rest of the world that who you love is your business. But when you are prepared for a job, our business is to make sure that you're granted the opportunity because you're prepared. I ask that you would dig deep into your souls and recognize this is about fairness. This is not asking you or anyone else to condone or to condemn one's sexuality. Not asking you to opine on that at all. What I am asking you to do is to grant fairness and the opportunity to a person who is prepared to be given the opportunity, not to guarantee the job. The employer still has the right. I've seen the emails and the letters that suggest that somehow this is going to force an employer to hire someone. No, it doesn't force you to hire anyone. It says that a person shall not be discriminated against because of X or Y. And none of those X's or Y's or that unspoken variable has anything to do with the quality of their work or their education. It has everything to do with the perception or the reality of their sexuality. And that's just not fair. I've heard a lot of really good arguments from this floor. I've heard a lot of compelling ones. I've heard a lot of really good prayers in this body. I've had a lot of great conversations with my colleagues about their belief in God. We have a prayer service on Tuesday mornings, and Brother Rodney talks to us about loving each other and being kind to each other and being fair to each other. And this morning he passed out this mustard seed about the faith that we all have. And I submit to you that our faith in mankind is at stake because discrimination against anyone is a threat to everyone. I ask for your favorable passage as we send a message that we are in fact a fair state that judges people based on their character, their hard work, and not on their sexuality. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
All right, no questions. Senator Peterson, you wish the floor?
Thank you, Mr. President and members. I rise in support of the bill. I appreciate Senator Carter bringing the bill. I just want to briefly tell you a story. I mean, the proposed law does exactly what he said, but it ensures that you are not permitted, that no one would be permitted to discriminate with respect to compensation, terms, conditions of employment, segregate, limit, or classify his or her employees or applicants from employment due to any individual's actual or perceived sexual orientation, gender identity, or gender expression. So that's what the bill would do. I'm going to give you a specific example without naming names. Just recently, I'm a small business person. I am an attorney, and I was in a position to make a decision. But in that decision-making process, I conferred with a lot of the people that I was involved with, and I'm going to leave this broad and generic. And I asked them about this individual. And I said, well, what do you think? And they weighed in and they talked to me about their feelings about what they knew professionally. And then they brought up sexual orientation. They actually brought that up with me. I was asking them, do you think this person can actually do this job? And I wanted their honest opinion. And it was more than once. And I had to, on multiple occasions, when people made a comment about this person's sexual orientation, I actually had to say them, well, you know, when I was talking to them, maybe I was remiss. I didn't ask them who they loved. Should I have asked them that? Should I have asked them when I was interviewing them for a job who they loved? I said to them, nobody ever asked me who I loved. When I applied for a job and I asked to get hired, to earn money, to sustain my household, never once since I had my first job did anyone ever ask or judge me. Now, they may have done it unbeknownst to me based on race. Now, they may have done it unbeknownst to me based on being female. But they never asked me. I was surprised and shocked that these people actually articulated. I tried to get back to the issue of qualifications. And finally, when they got back to the issue, they said, well, you know, you're right. And guess what? I hired that person, and they're doing a damn good job.
Any further discussion? Senator Carter, you have a right to close.
I think the arguments that I've made today stand on their own. I would ask that you dig deep in your souls and for a second, silence the critics, silence the bigots, silence the haters, silence those that would seek to divide us, silence those that would rather keep us backwards, silence those that have written all the nasty notes suggesting that this bill would do something that it doesn't. Think long and hard about the reality of what it really means. Not just for you, but for all those other people out there. For all those great students that are now studying at Southern, Grambling, LSU, ULL, Tulane, Loyola, Xavier University, University of New Orleans, who are preparing themselves for the marketplace, who are the best and the brightest our state has to offer. Many of them may be gay, lesbian, transgender. What message do we want to send them as they prepare to be the best that they can be? That you can't have a job just because of who you love? I just don't believe that at the end of the day, that's the message we want to send. And for those who make a whole lot of other arguments about the difficulty of it, if I close my eyes, I can almost hear the exact same arguments being made from this body many, many years ago about African Americans, when we sought to have protection, to not be discriminated against, that we would have the opportunity to move forward and to live out our lives in doing the occupations that we prepared for. My colleagues, I ask that you give everyone the same level of fairness and give them the opportunity to be judged on the quality of their work product and not on who they love. I move favorable passage.
All right, Senator Carter, move final passage. When the machines are open, those in favor will vote yes. Those opposed, no. Secretary, open machines, please. Vote your machines, please. Vote your machines. You through voting? Are you through voting? All right, close them up, please. The gentleman desired to give notice of reconsideration. Before he does, the vote was 8 yeas and 25 nays.